welcome back to Dukascopy TV. I'm Natalie MacDonald and you're joining us at the iFXEXPO Asia in coordination with FX Street at Forex Army. Up next in the studio is Drew Neve of FXCM. Drew, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Now, you're joining us today in Asia, which has got a lot of ticks next to its name at the moment, a technological and financial hub, home to 2 of the BRICS nations and also half of the world's population. Then if we add that onto the fact that Asia continues to outpace Europe, really, why is Asia so important and how does your company look to differentiate itself here?
So Asia is already 50% of FXCM's business. So Asia for us has been for a long time, the most important region for FXCM and continues to be. And I think for obvious reasons, this is where wealth is growing the fastest. This is where discretionary income is growing the fastest, where the internet ready population is growing the fastest too. And I think one of the most important things about Asia is that as people are growing wealthier, they're getting to the internet, their sophistication is growing much faster than the sophistication of the financial markets, the domestic financial markets in their countries. And therefore FX has a much more chance to become a mainstream financial product because in a sense, for example, for FXCM, what we are doing is that we are offering people from emerging market Asian countries a chance to come to a Western regulated brokerage firm. We have been here for 14 years. We have over 100 people in Hong Kong, in our office in Hong Kong. We have about 50 people in our office in Shenzhen, in China. So we have an enormous amount of people in the region. We have 60 people in Tokyo. We have a small office in Australia, so we have a huge presence in the region. We have multiple regulated entities in the region, meaning in Hong Kong we have a regulated entity, in Australia we have a regulated entity. It's something that in Japan we have a regulated entity. This is something that we are, very few brokers can offer is choice of regulated entity, support that's 24 hours a day. We have a trading room, in Chinese. Those are the things that, a big differentiator for us.
In an industry then where competing solutions and tight spreads can equate to a market share, who do you fear the most? Who do you consider as your greatest competition?
The people who are, generally the people who have made a big commitment, to the region, and so I actually in my experience have not found spreads to be as big of a deal. People sort of stereotype the Asian customers being cheap and therefore will go to the spreads. I think a lot of people, if you look at like wealthier Asian customers, what they invest in, right? They'll invest in Western real estate, and that's not cheap, right? And they'll pay inflated broker fees and money transfer fees, all because they get a sense of safety that that house in London, in New York, Geneva, wherever, essentially can't be taken away from them. Right? Is that issue where they'll pay for service, they'll pay for quality, they'll pay for certainty, and I think that actually when you deal with larger clients, service is the big issue. We don't fear that many people because a lot of the brokers that come here are coming here to take shortcuts. It's not as heavily regulated. They think they can treat the clients, not as good as they would have to treat the clients at home. And I think we don't do that. It's part of our big success, why we have a few $100 million of revenue from Asia, which very few firms do, is because of that, where we, came in and treat local customers as we would treat Western customers.
If we consider then trading platforms for a moment, and in its quarterly report, Forex Magnate suggests that MT4 represents approximately 20% of the retail market. Now we know that brokers are always adding new jazzy or singing or dancing platforms to this playing field, but what are insiders using? What do you see as being the biggest growing FX platform at the moment?
So I think in Asia it's about 50% MT4. So I think it's much more prevalent than it is in other regions. So I think MT4 is still the biggest platform. In Asia, in emerging market Asia is very big. Obviously in Japan, it's very small, but outside Japan, emerging markets Asia is a very big platform. Obviously, selfishly, our own platform, our organic platform, has done very well in the region. Again, most of our clients, even in Asia, about 80% of our clients use our organic platform. It's had a lot of success. But from third-party platform, what we've seen, MirrorTrader has a huge success in the region, especially in Japan, and a lot of our Asian clients use MirrorTrader. You know, outside of MT4, I don't know of a third-party platform that stands out too much, except for, you know, MirrorTrader. We've seen some success, but I think nothing equates to what, you know, to what MT4 has.
Well then, in terms of attracting new clients, have you noted a change in the trader profile? And if so, then what are you guys doing in terms of both attaining and retaining those clients?
So I think the clients, like in the rest of the world, the clients are getting more sophisticated. Now obviously in Asia, the clients have started from a lower bar. We still have a disproportionate amount of smaller clients who are less sophisticated, but as income levels are growing in Asia, essentially client sophistication is growing. As client sophistication is growing, there are less gamblers, there's more serious traders. While that's still, it's a region with lots of, you know, small accounts and therefore lots of gamblers, all right, you still have, a growing amount of larger clients who want much more certainty and much more regulation, care a lot more where their money is going because it's $100,000, not $1,000. And they care more about essentially how much, not just service, but where the, how quickly their problems are resolved. All of those, you know, all the service-related items, you know, become very important. Reliability becomes very important. I think that's something where in Asia is something that you're seeing quality becomes a much bigger thing, and that's where we have differentiated.
That kind of brings us on to my last question really, which is how you guys look to handle client complaints. You know, how you look to rectify errors. Do you take a sort of client direct approach or sort of a neutral strategy?
I think that the advantage, one of the biggest advantages of trading with FXCM is that you're not trading in the ether. Right? You're not trading in, you know, with a company that's unregulated that showed up in Asia because it doesn't have to, it's escaping tighter regulation somewhere else, and we're essentially, you're trading with us, one of our large regulated entities. Yes, obviously you would call us and say, I am disputing X, so I have a complaint, and we'll try to address it. But if you don't like our solution, you have the regulator to go to, the same one that an American or Canadian or, you know, a Brit would have. And I think that is a huge sense of comfort for, you know, for clients who, generally speaking, are left in this region with nobody to complain to. We're here, they don't have that issue, right? They can get a complaint and get the same rights as, you know, as a Western consumer, which I think is what people in the region are aspiring to do.
Absolutely. Drew, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your thoughts with us. Thanks. That's all we've got time for right now, but don't go away. We'll be back shortly with an exclusive interview from here at the iFXEXPO Asia. Goodbye for now.